Morse code.
You never want to ask me that on live TV.
On live TV.
Good morning. How is everyone?
Oh.
We're here. The candle's lit at both ends.
That's right. We made it.
Both ends of this candle.
Oh, man. It's like a spit roast.
Good morning. We got people from the Netherlands.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Mosan Creations.
Welcome. Glad you're catching the live stream. Our pal Ned is here.
Ned.
Mary McCheese, Sean, everyone's here. Jen Rye.
Greg.
They even know that you're going. Sean is going to Merlefest. I'm not going.
He abandoned me, guys.
He
said, you and Baxter
screw you
go.
Guys.
You know how much I'm going to hear about Dune?
Yeah, well, I do know how much you're going to hear about that.
So many other things.
You and Baxter and Donnie ride.
You guys got to help me persuade them into buying more than 1 6-pack of beer. I'm
Oh,
calling them out on live.
Who would drink them with you? You would just be up. They'd be like,
well, I
"Man,
drink 4 of them.
8:45.
Like,
time to turn in. Time to turn in.
1 6-pack for the whole weekend. I'm like, what are we doing?
Hey, that's like a half a beer a day. It's fine.
Oh.
A piece.
Oh.
Half a beer a piece a day.
I was going to bring Woodford. I told Donnie, I'm going to have to go down.
Dude, just take one of the. There's like 97 bottles.
No.
You got to just take one from here.
No.
Donnie Rod does not deserve Woodford unless he's going to hang out and party. Donnie Rod's our Taylor rep. He was on our live stream the other day.
He was.
I think we had to take it down off of our channel, but it's still up on my channel. Don't forget, we are streaming on my channel as well. I kind of forget that until people comment on it, and then I get a little notification.
Yeah, man.
So if you're on my channel watching this, thank you. But there you go. I think Jonathan was wearing that shirt last Wednesday. I was. You know why? It was because I'm going to tell you why I wore this shirt 2 times in a row. Last Wednesday, we were having that Taylor event. I thought, oh, I'll look nice. I wore my black shirt with buttons. So I wore it. And then last night, we went and we did a live recording, and I put this shirt on for it. And then I was like, well, I can't waste a shirt. It's not really that dirty yet. So I put it on again when I woke up this morning. So there we are. Two important Wednesdays in a row. This is my important shirt.
It is an important shirt.
It makes me look less.
Listen.
What's the word? Husky. Less husky.
It ain't easy being cheesy, all right?
It's very slimming.
You know how many clothes we own? We both own 2 outfits. That's, and we got to split them between the 2 of us.
I mean, listen, I don't know. There are many levels of dirty. Tom's right.
Yeah.
Especially with jeans. Man, you can get you get a long time out of a pair of jeans if you're just right.
If you do it right. You got to be smart,
It's called style. You're damn right it is.
Now,
I love it.
The Dickie shirts, I got a vintage Dickie shirt that I love. It rips. It's badass. I got to buy another one because I love it. I love wearing it. I feel like, it's just good.
I got all these old, I don't know if these were ever that cool, but I've collected these old the mechanics work shirts.
Yeah, dude.
But I used to go and play Key West every year, and the last couple times it was there was a Gas Monkey Garage bar in Key West, right? The dude owned it that owned the one in Texas into the show, and he loved me and the dude Alan. Alan was who I'd go play guitar for. I mean, they're probably incriminating pictures around of me doing ridiculous things at Key West, but man, but they would always give us, the Gas Monkey. And I'm always like, this is a cool, I won't throw them away, but I'd never really wear them.
Well, so does it have the monkey on the back?
A huge monkey on the back. One of them does.
Sealed.
And the American flag pat. You know what I mean? It's
Its fate is sealed. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You can burn them. I'm sorry.
You've never seen me walk in one day and wow, this is my Gas Monkey shirt. But it's good memories, so I'm okay.
I'm gonna say this on live camera, and this will, I'll be a big ass hypocrite because of the shirt that I'm wearing right now. I cannot stand branded clothing, heavy branded.
You son of a.
The only things it takes me a bit. If Gabriel didn't have a badass logo and he also wasn't a complete badass himself. Not a chance.
Well, I'm okay with that, right? And it depends if you're just bumming around or what you're, wearing a t-shirt. But I don't necessarily want,
Oh, dude, I'm bad about it. The little Hollister Eagle thing and all that stuff. American Eagle, any of that?
This just having oh yeah, no.
No way.
No. It's not the 90s anymore. I'm sorry.
Well, and there's a lot of different ones. It's just not for me. I don't know why.
Let's see. Bob says, Jonathan Robinson, I thought I'd chat with you today and tell you guys I don't do chat. Fair enough. All right.
I don't do chat.
I don't do chat.
I love that. That's great. Jack Stowe.
Except, you can wear casino shirts. Jack.
2 dicks and flannels.
We love you.
You got that right.
That's pretty funny right there. Can't make that up.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, can't make that up.
For me, that's just me. That's all I'll say. We'll leave it there. It doesn't matter. I like stuff that's either not branded, or if it is, it's something ridiculous. Like the I Love New York shirts. I have like 4 of those.
You do.
And
you do have 4 of those.
You guys want to know the best part? I'll let you guys on the inside of the joke, okay? I've never been. I've never been, and I think that's the best part.
That actually is the best.
It makes me want to wear it more.
Andrew says I need some Jinkos. All right, listen. Read Daniel Klein's comment. I think we need to make it happen.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Let's figure it out. When you get back from Merlefest,
yes.
Merlefest.
Merle Travis?
Let's figure that out. Let's go to Port City and live stream.
I would love to do that. And also, if
I think we need a live jam.
I think we need a live jam. I think they need to hear the amps, dude. I think a me and Johnny trip to Port City, and Daniel too. Obviously, I don't know how much there's a crossover for you, but if you are up there in Boone and you do decide to come out to our neck of the woods at Merlefest, come say, hey, we'll be in the expo tent. I'll be waiting for you. We've seen each other twice now, once in the wild, and I appreciate you.
I don't think
That's all I gotta say.
I don't think I ever have.
He's a good dude. That's a big boy.
I believe you.
I don't mean like he's fat. He's just big.
Like ripped up.
Oh, yeah, he's like ripped. He's jacked. He came in.
Nope.
Look at this. Uh-oh. Okay.
That's it. Okay.
So the Black Crows and what else we got here?
The Black Crows. What a bunch of losers.
Crows.
Now, I'm ashamed to say I've still not listened to the new Black Crows album. But it's okay.
Well, apparently there's a riff in D.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's a riff in E.
Oh my.
And then they flip those 2.
Can you believe Bella Fleck is going to be again?
Hey, rumor has it Sam Bush might be on the bill.
Listen, okay, here's what's in the cup today. I can't go telling you what's in the cup, but you can always read my cup. It's just coffee. It's just good old cold brew coffee. Nice and strong. But anyways, let's talk about Merlefest.
Let's do it.
So Merlefest traditionally is, he wishes he was John Mayer so bad. I don't know if he cares if he was John Mayer. I feel like Chris Robinson has had a lot of his own good exploits.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
And to be fair, I was watching a video the other day about how much some of the people hated touring with them back in the day, at the height of their fame.
Yeah.
They were kind of dicks. And you listen to them, you're like, yeah, you guys are kind of pretentious. But man, I do love the Black Crowes music.
Well, the first record is undeniable. We'll keep talking here in a second. They played Merlefest last year, and I saw them.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I walked past one of them.
Was it more like Broken Down, or was it like?
And it wasn't the Black Crowes. It was the what are they called?
The Chris Robinson Brotherhood or something like that.
Yeah, the Brothers of a Feather or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I walked past him, but you know how it is at Merlefest. You don't really, if you walk past somebody cool, you don't say anything. You just kind of like, hey, how's it going? Like I don't jump out on them.
It is pretty cool though.
What I do love is because I know just enough bluegrass to get in trouble as far as people. I walked past Jim Lauderdale like a million times all weekend.
Who?
And I'm just like,
who are you talking about?
I think we shot the shit in the bathroom and stuff like that. Well, the next thing that happened is I walk into the expo tent and some guy's losing his mind, taking a picture next to a cutout of Jim Lauderdale. I said, he's outside, right? He was like, what? And he lost his shit. He ran. They're full on.
He's always here. If you're a Merlefest, he's always here. Pretty easy to catch him.
Yeah, but
that's pretty funny. I like Bob's comments. There was a shout out to Derek. Derek always deserves a shout out, hitting all the knobs and doodads.
He's doing all the
working
things,
the
baby.
electrics. Derek kind of makes this whole thing run.
I mean,
we get on here and make fools of ourselves, but Derek actually has
you would just have a shaky phone footage.
It would be bad.
You wouldn't be able to hear us.
You wouldn't watch this channel.
It would be bad.
You wouldn't watch. You wouldn't care. You'd be like, nah. Derek kind of makes it all run. But anyways, let's talk about Merlefest for a second. So Merlefest traditionally very bluegrass-ish, I think it's always been a little wide. And to be fair, Doc Watson was always been kind of he is very bluegrass, obviously, but I think he's always been kind of a broader, he was into it expanding, right? How do we feel about it turning more little more rock and roll, a little more Americana-y. Because we've seen Tedeschi trucks there.
Well,
There was, what was the girl there? Was Melissa Etheridge was there one year, you know what I mean? I was like, that's kind of odd. This year, who I'd be most excited, well, Turnpike Troubadours are awesome, but I'd probably be most excited about seeing Lucas Nelson because he is awesome.
I heard he rips.
He does rip. So,
I mean, I'll tell you this, especially compared to like last year's lineup, which had like some heavy hitter rockers on it, like, you know, from Marcus King to I'm trying to remember some of the other groups, but it was like definitely a heavier rock leaning. This year, I think they kind of went back a little bit. You know, we're seeing Old Crow come back. We're seeing a lot more of the traditional.
They've
thing.
always got like the Kruger brothers and all those dudes. Jack, that's a good question. We'll come back to that. The last person who was starstruck. Also, the thing about Robbie said, walk past Paul Stanley. I wonder how much some of the younger people know who Paul Stanley is, especially without the makeup. I think there was a time when everyone knew who Paul Stanley was, and I say that there was a meme I was watching the other day. It was a hilarious thing where this guy tells his wife that she looks like Willie Nelson. It's super sweet, but and I thought it was funny, and I read my wife sent it to me, and I read the comments, and all these kids are like, and I say kids, like 25, 30-year-olds are like, haha, this was even better when I looked up who Willie Nelson was. She really does look like him, and I was like, oh my God, no one knows who Willie Nelson is anymore. Not no one.
I know.
But you know, like there's generations of people who.
Yeah, no, me and Skylar talked about this. She's like, you know how many people I wouldn't know, like Joe Bonamassa. She didn't even know his name, but she was like, I could tell from his face, and you know, all the jokes.
He's even different, right? Because you wouldn't know him unless you were like into blues music or like a musician, right? In it. But like
scale that up to old rock.
Paul Stanley should have been like. There's a point where Paul Stanley is like a national. Stop anyone on the street. Hey, you know Paul Stanley from Kiss? Yeah. You know what I mean? Or hey, do you know who Willie Nelson is? Yes.
Back in the day, though, would you know Paul Stanley without the makeup on?
Maybe not the height, but then when they kind of,
and
once they became like the Kiss Army.
Trent Reznor talked about this with 9 Inch Nails and why he went by 9 Inch Nails instead of Trent Reznor, right? His favorite band was Pink Floyd growing up. And he said the cool part with Pink Floyd that he thought was cool is you didn't know what any of them looked like. Like, you could walk past those guys on the street, and it was because their faces weren't on the album covers, outside of Piper's at the Gate.
I mean, there was a whole crop of bands, like, in the 90s when I was in, like, high school and learned to play, where they were some of my favorite bands, and I didn't really know what they looked like. Yeah. Because, there's no YouTube in the same way. There's no social media. Yeah. I think that's relatively new, right?
You think so?
Like knowing what every dude you just had to work a little harder to know what they look like, right? Yeah. If you really wanted, if you cared, or you saw them live, maybe, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think a lot of that stuff,
I want to point out that there's somebody in our chat named Hoss, and he said Kiss is highly overrated.
Coming in with Hoss opinions.
I'm going to be honest with you, Hoss. I agree. But that's besides the point. Derek's about to throw something. Oh, God, the chairs are moving.
Here's my very diplomatic stance on it. Kiss just makes like straight up kind of like garage rock and roll, but it's really well done. But their brilliance is that they have created this like whole world, and it's a corporation, and it's like made $1 bazillion, and that's where Kiss is like.
Entertaining show on the planet.
And you've been to a lot of concerts, right? And you've got to go backstage. Derek's done some film stuff at some Kiss shows.
Derek is like the guy from Role Models with Kiss stuff. Like, have you seen? We've all seen that movie, right? Where it's like the guy and he's got all the Kiss stuff. That's Derek all day. If you had the collection, you would have the pinball machine. I could see it. You got it in your eyes. You're like, yes.
I mean, there'd be no pyrotechnics. There'd be no all of that aspect of concerts came from Kiss.
Were they the first to do all that stuff?
They were the ones that really pushed the pyro to the next level.
So they're the ones who burned Michael Jackson's head. That's what you're telling me.
And James Hetfield.
They're the ones to blame.
Hey, Sean, that pizza was good. Fried taters, I'm glad. I'm going to assume that you are our custom shop guy. There are 2 dudes that come in and they play. He's got the really cool green custom shop in the back. Waiting for him.
Nice.
Sick. I hope that's you. If not, it'd be funny if I'm just here like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Who?
If it is, though, good on you, man. That is good pizza over there. I like that place. Yeah, man. I don't know. For me, like, Kiss never bit me.
I wish you could have seen them live.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I can see
That
how.
is an act. I would have went and saw them live, like having, like, especially knowing you now and stuff, and thinking about, like, oh, that would just be fun to, it's one of those groups.
Just a spectacle.
Fan until I ever saw them
Yeah.
live.
Well,
I can see that,
I'm in the position too where, like, okay, here's a topic we could kind of talk on for a second. Since
I just have to juxtapose here, like the.
Here we go.
I can see that for Bluegrass is that way for me.
Yeah.
I don't like to sit around and listen to Bluegrass, but I like to see it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like to hear it and be like, okay, that's cool that Molly Tunnel can do that. But now Kiss is probably the same way, right? Like, I don't necessarily want to sit around and listen to Detroit Rock City.
To Kiss, and the kids have a great time.
Well, I don't know how you couldn't have a good time with like loud, like rock music, electric guitar, and then like fire, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it would be killer to see them live. In my mind, how many artists would you go and see live just for the sake of saying, I saw blank live? Like, I would go and see Kiss live just to say, yeah, I went and saw Kiss live, and it changed my world. It made me think about live music differently. Or, like, I love Bob Dylan. I've made it a goal of mine. I want to go see Bob Dylan. But the issue with seeing Bob Dylan right now is it's not this show that I would want to see, you know? I would love to see him do like a 3-hour show. And he plays all the deep cuts and new stuff and old stuff and everything, but not him doing American standards and, my friend went and saw him. It's not good.
Not so good.
He said he walked out on stage, didn't say a word, right into the first song, didn't speak the whole time, played every song, like 12 songs, 13, 14 songs, all American standard songs, not his songs.
The thing about
and then
he
like,
has so many songs, right? How could you be? I mean, he doesn't give a about whether he plays your favorite.
Oh yeah.
But I really wanted to hear, don't think twice. It's all right.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
No.
I know, right? And that's a part of it. That's a part
Like, how
of
long
Dylan.
since he's played like a Rolling Stone?
Actually, there was a concert, and I assume it's because of how much money they paid him or something. It was in junction with Coachella, right? And it was in the same area, and it was called like Desert Days or something like that. I can't remember.
All right.
It's like 2018, 2019 period, right before the pandemic, and that's why they didn't do it again, I believe. They had the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, like just this Neil Young, like this crazy list of guys, and they came out and played like vintage set list. Like Bob Dylan played all of his old hits with this crazy sounding band. It was awesome. And, the tickets were astronomical, so I could go, and it was all the way out in California.
Sean Hernandez says, even if he did play it, you wouldn't recognize it until halfway through. That could be true. But I think with Bob Dylan, he has off nights and like on nights. I don't know. So maybe.
Well, and we can go on this shit all day and stuff all day. I could hop in a time machine and go back and see him play with Tom Petty as his backing band. That would be great.
Ned says, so Merlefest went electric just like Dylan, and now it's a Kiss show. I'm lost. It is. It did sort of go electric.
That's right.
I don't know. But, I mean, I feel like even the acts, most of the acts who play at Merlefest are, like, toning it down. Like, even we saw Sturgill there years ago. He was doing his Bluegrass stuff.
That's what I was going to say, too. For me, Bluegrass, up until Billy Strings and Sturgill doing those 2 records, I didn't get it until I heard that, and I was like, oh, wow.
Have we had Billy Strings to go? If you're waiting for Billy Strings to go, Billy Strings has been electric. Yeah. He's been doing all. In fact, he's got a two rock in his live rig.
Well, not only
he's playing acoustic, but he's playing electric a lot. You see him playing electric with all sorts of.
He's got like an
bands.
SG and stuff.
Yeah. He plays the way about.
He plays. I think he plays his acoustics through this crazy pedal board where he puts drive and stuff on it.
Well, like I said,
nuts.
there's a two rock in his rig, in his normal rig for his shows. I think he's kind of trying to transcend the Bluegrass thing. He's a great electric player. I don't know if I enjoy hearing him play his electric as much, but I really love hearing him play like the flat pig stuff. He's But then I don't know, and you hear Billy Strings and he's amazing, and then you hear those guys like Trey Hensley like that. Those guys are just just all levels of ridiculousness of how good they are. But but yeah, I'd say old Billy Strings has gone electric.
He's in it, dude.
And you got to kind of enjoy that Billy Strings is just sort of seems like he's just whatever whatever he's into, whatever kind of music he just wants to play it and have a good time and
Yeah.
enjoys it. And I think that's pretty cool.
I get it.
I mean, I've seen him do a couple of Grateful Dead things where, like, I think they did a tribute, like some kind of Grateful Dead show at Red Rocks where Billy Strings was playing the whole time.
He got on stage and played with, I forgot what the band was. It was some metal band. I can't remember, but it was pretty dope too. He got up there and like was riffing. He's like,
Yeah.
sick.
So
Sick.
Tom says, I don't like bluegrass at all, but appreciate the talent it takes to play it. I won't say I don't appreciate it all. That's kind of what I mean when I say that I like to watch it, you know. I like to see him like ripping it up and shredding. But there's not too many bluegrass records I just put on, with maybe the exception of Alison Krauss and Union Station, because those are fantastic songs. Some of the Jerry Douglas stuff. But.
It's grown on me. Like I like it a lot more now. Going to Merlefest has helped with that. Banjo is still probably the hardest instrument to listen to.
Sean says that because he's about to go for days and be in a booth full of guitars next to the Deering banjo booth. And listen, no offense if you love Deering. I love them as well. They're great. The owner's always there. They're great people. But when they have electric banjos that they plug in to make them even louder, and then people come with like djembes, and they have like these little jazz, banjo circles with djembes and cajones, you do kind of want to murder everyone after the second day. And I'm sorry, but that's where Sean's headed. And
it's not only going to be that, you know what it's going to be?
Oh, I know it's going to be, yeah.
I didn't really understand what old time music was until I heard the jams, the never ending cycling. I'm just gonna say it. Hopefully, I think we're safe here. We're safe in our little community of live streams, but somebody's gonna come up to me and say, "I heard what you said about
I heard what you said, old time music." First off, don't ever call them bluegrass. They get very upset about it.
Oh yes, they do.
It's not bluegrass old time. Old time, it's boring because there's no like. At least the bluegrass, like somebody takes a break and it's like a jam, And the old time, it's just over and over.
And everybody's playing the same melody.
Yeah, and you're like, sometimes sort of together.
And then
there's no judgment here.
No, there's an A section that goes on for 5 minutes, and then there's a B section that goes on for 3 minutes, and they alternate.
Yeah.
And they just keep going, and they're like, man, we went for 45 minutes. Can you believe it? Bob had a heart attack.
I believe it. I was here for every second. It's Americana. I mean, Americana is like that giant, right? Like, you could say Jason Isbell was Americana, right?
Yeah. That's nowhere near.
I mean, I think Americana. No, I think Adam is right that Americana covers that.
Oh yeah, it can be in there.
And I think
you had a good point when you're talking about the band. It was kind of the first kind of Americana.
I think the band we're talking about, like the band like Up on Cripple Creek, The Last Waltz, the band. I think when that hit and people. Because, we were talking about that inspired Clapton, right, doing Derek and the Dominoes, and he said, man, maybe it doesn't have to be straight blues. Maybe it can be all these things. I think the band was the first kind of like folky, sort of acoustic, but sort of rocks. But like, what is this Americana? I think they, you could maybe trace like what we think of as not, modern Americana.
Yeah. And the band is solely just amazing. Fantastic. We were listening to The Last Waltz yesterday, and you sit there and you just think about the sheer amount of songs. Like Ophelia, The Weight, of course, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. I know some people are like, oh, and listen, it's not like that. It's just a song.
It's an amazing song.
It's
an amazing. I mean,
incredible.
Ned says Americana is shorthand for country music, but not that. Yes. I mean, like good, like what we would like country music to be.
Honestly, isn't it funny? And I think you'll agree with this.
Fine Breeder Brothers, yeah.
Isn't it funny that Americana is more or less taking up what we loved old country to be? And that's all it really is encompassing.
And it is a little the rock side of country, I think, and it is those bands from California like the Fine Breeder Brothers, and it turned into, Poco and the Eagles and all that stuff.
It is what alternative music in the 90s was for rock. In
that acoustic
music.
Rock kind of
It's like, no, you can blend these things all together. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, Atlantic City. Let's don't go that far, Sean Brooks. Let's don't go saying we like Bruce Springsteen. I'm just kidding.
Jonathan loves Bruce.
I'm mostly kidding.
He loves the boss.
He's the boss of me. No,
look at his shirt. Come on, he is the boss.
Glory days. I actually do like that song. I do like a few songs, but no, the Levon Helm doing and the band doing Atlantic City is badass.
Did he sign your? Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say something really funny, and then I figured that would be there.
Too far, Sean. Too far. But no,
Too far.
with the Americana thing, I kind of think that's how Merlefest justifies what they're doing. Because they would say, you could say Americana covers blues and all these things, and I think Merlefest is like, oh, we're kind of like an Americana bluegrass festival. So everything that's not straight bluegrass is Americana.
Every great thing like that, like a music festival, a genre, a way of life in most things, right, has to evolve and change and progress forward.
No, we hate change.
Now, and even with that, though,
Hate it.
you can take something that is old and evolve it into something new and find a new way to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love old analog gear in the same way. I'm going to find a new way to look at it, hopefully. That's the idea, right? Same thing with music and with Merlefest. I heard we got these old guys who walk around their tin and stuff like that, and they come up to me and they're like, oh, I heard this is all rock and roll now. It's terrible. I was like, or maybe it's a meeting of two worlds that you wouldn't get people who like Marcus King to listen to bluegrass otherwise. And they're going to come here and they're going to fall in love with bluegrass.
And I kind of dig that. Okay. Two things I got to point out.
Oh, here we go.
Bob Whiting just coined the phrase Shonathan.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yesterday, I called Sean Stradamus, and I think that's going to stick. I like Shonathan. We're like a power couple now. So we're a team. The live stream Wednesdays with Shonathan.
Somebody calls me, they used to call me Young Shonathan, and I can't remember who it is right now. It's like buried in my mind, but I love that. That's great.
Robbie Adair, you are right. It is really hard to beat Eddie Rabbit. I love A Rainy Night. God, it's a cool song. Eddie Rabbit's awesome. Also, someone said that, I can't find it, but they said that Blackberry Smoke is Americana. I would say yes.
Yeah,
I would say yes. But I mean, you could also call them Southern rock.
Like Americana, there's got to be some acoustic guitar.
Well,
I
mean, that's the thing, right? Like half the Blackberry Smoke songs are acoustic guitar.
Well, there you go.
Half are like what I'd call more hard rock and like Southern rock. But then you think of something like One Horse Town, super Americana. Like that could be on any Americana record. So yeah, I just the funny thing about Americana right now is it is almost undefined. It is almost a catch-all.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It just in the same way. Because
they call Kev Moe Americana at Merlefest, you know what I mean? Which it is blues, obviously, but he does have that kind of country blues thing to him with acoustic guitar. So I don't know, but I kind of think you're right, Derek. Like I think that is a pretty key element. Do you think, Derek, it has to be sort of like country, like fiddle? Does it have to have like steel and any of that stuff?
A little bit of country influence to it.
Well, I'll put it this way, and this is what I was going to say a second ago. Here's what I was going to say, okay?
And again, I think half of Blackberry Smoke has that. What are you going to say?
The Americana is functioning right now in the same way that the phrase indie is. And it's just kind of like this umbrella that doesn't, it's just kind of all over, And I don't think...
Americana used to be alt country.
I know, Grandpa.
Forever it was alt country, right?
It was always alt.
It was like Ryan Adams and all that kind of stuff, the Jayhawk, yeah.
Wilco.
Yeah.
I know, but
forever
also,
I thought of
like,
Wilco as alt country,
I don't know.
It's weird how those terms change, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Everything's gotten so loose. I don't,
Some kid told me, who was it? Some kid, and it blew my friggin' mind, and I had to go get on. I had to stop his lesson and look at the old Google machine because I was like, is this the Mandela effect? I don't know. He said Oceania, and I was like, what the hell is Oceania? And I was like, no. When I was a kid, it was just Australia was a continent, and there are all these weird little islands, in the South Pacific. And it was like, oh, and it's like this has been around since the since the UN in 1947. I was like, I guess so. But and then there was like things on it was like maybe Australia is not necessarily a continent. Maybe that whole thing's.
Yeah.
I was very confused, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I believe in loose labels, if any labels at all. That's what I think. I think
loose,
it's
loosey
super loose.
goosey.
And now listen, you can't do like I can't sit down with an 808 and rap over a beat and then be like, no, it's Americana. But I think it's far expanding.
Okay. Sean McKenzie says that Sean, spelled your way, is the Gaelic of John. Are you telling me we have the same name?
It's a sign.
By God, I knew it.
It's a sign.
Okay. Southern rock was half European influenced. They all love Clapton. Yeah, but you got to say Clapton comes right back to the old, not only the black bluesmen from America, but also, guys like Carl Perkins influenced all those British guys. So I 1,000% agree, but I still think it all traces back to, our side of the old pond. But yeah, I mean, Clapton, yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find any of the Southern rock guys who did not idolize Clapton. And I would say for good reason. Took the Brits to show us what we had. It was there all along. Just had to filter it through mushy peas and rain, everyday rain. That's all. And just perpetual sadness and depression. I have spent time in the UK. You're right. That's how I know it so intimately.
Perfect.
No, I love it. Americana is country music without Nashville's business model and conventions. See, I would always call that outlaw country.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is like it's become this, I think.
There's the overlap, right? Like it is outlaw country because like Americana covers that. I think Americana now covers what we used to call red dirt. All that Texas, like Oklahoma
Well,
country
if you
music.
looked at the lineage of it, I would assume, if you took the band and then you take the outlaw country movement, those two things are what Americana started within and expanded from. Like at the precipice of Waylon Jennings to the band, like that's your bracket, and then from there it just started moving out. But it's weird that it works that way, right? Because I don't know, because like Tyler Childers or Sturgill Simpson or any of these guys that would be considered a part of like a new outlaw movement are considered Americana.
But it's also, like you say, it's country kind of without that Nashville.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that now all those people are going to Nashville. Which, so like you can see that two ways. You can see them like kind of getting under the machine, or you can see them influencing what's mainstream. And I think both are true, and I think maybe both are positive.
Just bring Garth back home.
Where does Hank the Third fit? He's just crazy. He's a wild man. I don't know. I think I like some of Hank 3 stuff, and I can kind of appreciate all of it. Well, most of it. That's such a weird thing when you get to a guy like who your grandfather basically invented country music, like started what we think of as like.
Yeah.
He's sort of like the Robert Johnson of Hank Williams, kind of like Robert Johnson of country music, right?
Yes.
In a weird way. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you classify a dude with a heritage like that.
I know.
But
well, and I always look at it this way: are we gonna have a Hank the Fifth, Hank the Sixth? Like,
God, I hope so. Are you sure Hank done it this way?
Is it gonna be like a box situation where all his kids play music too, and they all go on? It's like, okay, if you're a box, then you're good.
And yeah, like at what point? I'm fine with that as long as they really love it, and it's not just like, well, this is a way to make some easy money because we got a name. Because you see that in family, like with legacies of that, right? You'll see. I got a good example, and I'm very hesitant to say, but people just cashing in on that name.
Well, the old saying about a 3-generation business, right? The first person busts their ass to just get it up and going.
From like nothing, starting from nothing,
Yes.
right?
The second person watches them do it and is just as driven, and they go through it. The third person in line, and I say just as driven to do it, they take it to whatever the biggest level is. And then the third person in line is reaping the rewards and comes in and just blows it.
Yeah, we don't have to work that hard. It's always easy come, easy go.
There you go. Not saying that's Hank 3, just saying that's...
I don't know.
That's what they say. You can see it a lot.
Sean Brooks says we've always been at war with Oceania. I feel like it's like Atlantis rising out of the sea, and that they should win. They should subjugate us and tell us why we've been doing it wrong. We've learned from the past, the ancient civilizations, and build pyramids everywhere with free energy. It's going to be great.
We must have some new people in our lives.
I think we do, man.
I'm hearing a lot of hair comments. I'm hearing a lot of...
Does Sean and Baxter have the same hairstyles? Well, first of all, surely you don't think they style it that way. Surely you understand they just like wake up and bam,
Come on, guys.
Tom says even Grateful Dead has country sounding songs. Tennessee Jed is one of my favorite Grateful Dead tunes, and it is very much that. Have you guys checked out Matthew Scott? Is he the dude that has the YouTube channel too and does all the cool old vintage Fender amps and kind of like on his YouTube stuff? He plays a lot of like SRV? I think so. And I think I did listen to some of that record when it came out, if it's who I'm thinking about, and it was very good, Bob. But I hadn't listened much after that. Mary McChee says gospel was the OG Americana than folk in the country. I kind of am on board with that. Yeah. I think that's true. And I think there's a lot of overlap there.
Ask Jack.
You hate label makers.
I know, yeah.
So.
I do. Actually, no, I love a good label maker. I just hate labels.
There's little circle ones that you...
Yo, Sean Brooks.
Horrible.
Garth does need to tell us where he put the bodies. Where are the bodies, G? Where's the bodies? That was my favorite YouTube spat ever.
Tom is asking about Molly Hatchet and Leonard Skinner. Sean?
Great. What am I supposed to say? No, I know. That's like the genre bending, right? Genre bending.
I mean, Molly Hatchet is kind of like, I don't have a strong opinion, and I know I'm probably, I'm sorry. But Leonard Skinner, fun fact, I'll give you a teaser what I'm thinking about doing. There's talks of me maybe playing some with a Skinner tribute act who travels all over the country.
Boom. There
so
it is.
pretty big thing. So that could be fun. And so I'm inundated right now with Skinner's. I mean, this is just like it's not even for sure set in stone. But
it could be fun. It's gonna be awesome.
I feel like this is why I was born. But and it's a lot of ways.
Somebody told me the other day. They said, you know what they say about Jonathan whenever I see him or I'm talking to somebody about the YouTube channel?
I don't even know if I want to know this or not.
No, they say, oh, you mean the guy that looks like he's been in every Southern rock band? It's like, yes, that's right. That's a compliment if I've ever heard one. That's amazing.
You're like, could you grow out your beard and your hair and be in this? Oh, wait, no.
Jonathan might be joining
I'm ready.
the band. Jesus
I don't know.
Christ.
So we're just thinking about it. I'm talking about it. So, you know,
I'm going to have to pull out some Trailer Park Boy references here in a second.
Hey, you never know. You just never know.
What a great show.
Yes, Lucas, Nelson, and Promise of the Real are, in fact, great. It is true. Now, here's an interesting thing. Derek, I need your opinion on this. Sometimes I think Americana was shaped by Austin City Limits and the artists they chose to platform. They definitely showcased all those artists in my mind. Like, in fact, one of the big Wilco things I remember watching was in Austin City Limits. I feel like I need to dig into the history of Austin City Limits. How much do you know about that, Derek?
Not much.
I mean, I know I watched all those specials, and I know, I mean, like, Austin City Limits is some friggin' legendary, like, live performances.
David Tompkins said, "There's a lot of comments that we're blowing through some comments here."
I know.
I was gonna
Sheryl
say,
Crow. What about her? No, Sheryl Crow has the best, most underutilized guitar players. The two dudes that play for Sheryl Crow are amazing. But okay.
Johnny, I think Americana has also a lot to do with the topics of the songs.
Oh.
More so than the instrumentals.
So Derek says he thinks Americana has to do with the I don't know if you guys can hear him very good.
Culture.
I think that is very true. I think that's very true. What you're singing about.
Incorporate all your Southern rock or your Skinner stuff because they're talking about the culture of Southern.
Lil Nas X.
We're not
You're
singing
right,
about
Derek.
tacos. It's not about tacos.
Listen, Sean's favorite new country album basically stole the theme song from a turtle.
Which one?
This ain't Texas.
Record that you won't stop playing, Sean.
Franklin Turtle
Listen.
Turtle, have you
is
Just
rolling in his
because-
grave.
Just because the old men around here don't like the new hip things.
that stole?
Doesn't mean
That's
it's
a
bad.
rip-off. They ripped it off.
It stole.
Every
It
time
stole.
I will say it gets in my head a little more every time
They
I friggin'
stole
that is an
it.
amazing video.
I'll have to play it for everybody.
Wah.
Hey, someone says, Tom's talking about Oddly Freed. Listen, if you hadn't listened to Oddly Freed, do yourself a favor. He's on some of the Black Crowes stuff. He's been Sheryl Crow's guitar player forever, and he's one of the guys I was joking about. Stupidly good I mean, like, ridiculously good. Go listen to Cry of Love, which was his first band, I think, from North Carolina. Highway Jones, Peace Pipe. Good Lord.
Don't worry, Eric said, it's not a country album. Listen, I'm going to put it out there like this. Anything that you hear me say on here, relax. It's not that
All right,
serious.
Sean.
No, I'm serious.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
All right, here we go.
Let's share it.
Hard-hitting news. You heard it here first.
I remember being 13 and worrying about
Canceled.
stuff like this.
Canceled.
sure I got the sound on for everybody.
I mean, Franklin's a great show. It's not gonna give me the crazy feedback.
Hey, it's Franklin.
It sounded like it.
Listen,
I mean,
all I want,
really,
all I
dig
want
it.
to find out, it's hilarious no matter what. But if there was like somehow a video of like Beyonce sitting around watching Franklin Turtle,
I hope so.
that would be amazing.
Looking smoking hot.
Just lounging, Jay-Z's cooking pancakes.
That bitch don't cook pancakes.
Oh yeah, when Beyonce tells him to, he does.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. He stays in his room, is what I'm getting at.
That's all. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know. I just say. I watched the thing this morning. I just popped up on my thing on the way to work about Eddie Murphy talking about Charlie Murphy telling the story about them playing basketball with Prince. And he was saying that, you know, and like the people were saying that like everyone who has ever collaborated that story is like, you know, yeah, no, pretty much the way it happened. And he said they asked Prince in an interview. He's like, yeah, that's accurate. He's like, you made him pancakes. He's like, well, I didn't make the pancakes, but we had pancakes. Like, God. Oh, it's amazing.
I heard a Will.i.am quote about Michael Jackson and Prince, about Prince playing bass in Michael Jackson's face, right? He went up to him and played it in his face. And he said that he went to Michael Jackson's house that night, you know, to hang out with him afterwards. And the first thing, Michael's coming here from the door, he said, "Why did Prince play the bass in my face? He's such a meanie." And like, it was like quoted as him constantly saying, Prince is a meanie. Like that's how he referred to him, was a meanie. I was like, okay.
Prince is no joke.
No joke, playing the bass.
I bet Prince was freaking hilarious. I mean, like, I bet he was ridiculously intimidating, but I bet he was hilarious.
It would have been great to see him, like, to be friends with somebody like that where they're going to be honest with you and be like, I thought that shit was funny. They're like, yeah, it was.
I mean, imagine being like weird, but also like famous and kind of powerful enough to play the bass in Michael
Jackson's face.
Be like, come here, bitch. You know, it just, like, I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. Is it 4/24/24? Sure, that means something. It means it's April the 24th, 2024. No, I don't know. I kind of am into sometimes things mean things. I don't know.
I mean,
who knows? Mary McTee says Prince deserves more credit for standing up to the industry. I do think there's some truth to that.
In the words of Kendrick Lamar, Prince outlived Mike Jack. That's right. I respect Prince more than Michael Jackson. I like Michael Jackson's music and what he's done, but you know, Prince is the man, dude.
Okay, here's a serious comment from our friend Ryan Chilton. As a kid, Franklin was a gateway to the folk and Grateful Dead, just like Hey Arnold was responsible for my love of jazz. That's kind of interesting, right? I mean, I think there's always been the thing about how if you used to watch Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, it would make kids like classical music, maybe. At least, maybe not love classical music, like where they seek it out, but to recognize some of those pieces. Yeah. Because like, even I used to always play, make kids who were starting out who were young enough they couldn't play chords. And no kid ever knows it now. But everybody used to sort of recognize the melody. Yeah. So I think that's kind of a neat, I think that's kind of great.
I think it is too. I think it is too.
Jack Stowe, is it your wife's birthday? Please tell her that we said happy birthday.
Straight up.
That's fantastic.
I was going to talk about another music show.
Hope you guys are doing something fun.
There was a small window you could have caught this show, and you'd have to probably be my age or maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older. There's a show that Andre 3000 did. It was called Class of 3000.
Never heard of it.
It was fantastic. I think it only had 1 to 2 seasons, but it was really cool. That's what he did after Outkast, took a little break. It was pretty neat. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot about music then. It was like maybe 10. It was great. Show ripped.
Lexington Daniel says Looney Tunes was also jazz and blues. It was, you know. It was. It turned generations on to good music. I think that is very true. All right. I just had a thought pop into my head. This is off topic, but also strangely on topic. What do we think? I was talking to a student yesterday about the brand new, like the 355, the inspired by Gibson, like with the custom buckers. Looks like they're out. Man, they look good.
They look awesome.
They look kind of phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do we think? And I was talking about the Leonard Skinner thing.
Yeah.
There was a part in my brain was like, man, that's the route to go for like a take on the road Les Paul. Like that 59 is $12.99. He's got custom buckers. It looks great. The headstock's the same as the friggin' Gibson.
Yeah.
Do you think, is this just a great value? Is it too much for an Epiphone? Or does it sort of devalue some of the Gibson stuff if it's that good and has custom shop components at this price point?
Let me ask you this.
Like, what do you guys think?
If you had a Squire Classic vibe that was souped up with custom shop pickups in it, would you play it? If I was like, yeah, it's going to play great.
Oh, of course.
No crazy.
I would play it without the custom shop pickups.
Not in front of your friends.
Not in front of you assholes, because you are, you know how you guys are. It's not a custom shop.
Not everybody has a one-of-a-kind Eric Clapton 7-Up green Strat.
Not everyone. Not
We
everyone.
gotta bring that thing in. We haven't done a video on it, have we? That'd be sick.
But I just don't know. Like, and to me, this is different. These are more expensive.
Yep.
And it's just the way they're built, right? Like, I want to put my hands on one.
I think they're gonna crush it.
And would you buy that 355, or would you buy the Dave Grohl? The 355 in my brain kind of has better specs. The Dave Grohl is cool because it's Dave Grohl.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The only reason I'd get the Dave Grohl is because of that, but I don't really like signature models either. I would probably go 355.
Ned says Jonathan would ride a moped, but not to work. That was a joke that sort of came to my mind, but it seems inappropriate in case we had younger viewers. That was a great way to say it, Ned. So there you go. There you go. But no, that 355, that's not what I need. I'd need the 59 Les Paul. But also, I thought I liked the white 355 until I saw some videos of people actually playing the red one. And I was like, ooh. Whew. Like from the Sweetwater pictures, I would have probably maybe chose the white one. But from the live videos,
As a fat girl, I'm offended. That's funny. That's just funny. I don't think you
it's
go
wrong in every level.
To be honest, though, do you think? I feel like your 335 could do the job.
My 335 would absolutely do the job.
I think
It will come down. We hear the train. It would come down to whether or not they're cool with that, since they never play a 335 in the actual show. It depends on how much they're into. Like, it's got to be the guitars in the shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you almost killed somebody.
Yep.
You see that?
I'm sorry I almost killed you, but I'm glad it was funny. So, yeah. There you go. That's what you're going to do.
I love it. That's where it's at, baby.
Base Wipe North Carolina says, if I had a 335, it would have to be red, and that's the only red guitars I like. I do feel like there's something really classic about. At first, when I ended up with my 335, I had a twinge of, I kind of want a red one. But I don't know. The natural has really grown on me.
The natural, I think, looks sick, and especially if you see it from the back, because the neck is brown. The neck is not natural as well.
Sexy.
It's pretty damn sick.
Whew.
I didn't know about that stuff
That's
either
good.
until I saw it. I was like, okay, that's pretty damn dope.
No, I just can't even friggin' my 335, man. It's kind of a dream guitar. We did our recording last night that we were talking about. You guys will see it soon. You're like, God, that looks great, but it's horrible. It's horrible sounding.
Come on.
But I will say, the pairing of the Gretsch on the rhythm track and then the lead stuff with the 335.
Ripping, dude.
Filtertrons and
Just
PAFs.
screaming.
Whew. Ever play the Shinichi Ubikata? I probably said that horribly wrong. ES355 with the Veritone knob. One of those came through, didn't it? Or did it not? Derek, did we have one of those come through?
What?
I think we talked about them, right?
The Shinichi Ubikata ES355,
No.
Yeah.
the Veritone. We just talked about it, right? Yeah. Okay. No, but we were all interested and intrigued by that. Just like the Emily Wolf one.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar. We played one of those. That's pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
I have never been an Epiphone fan. I've always thought they felt kind of funny. But it seems like
I just want to play them all.
I played one. We played, me and Sean, the night we had the Taylor live stream, we walked over and had dinner with the Taylor rep, with Don. And
Oh, yeah.
then,
That's right.
you know, we were like staring into the open door of O'Donnell's, which is a bar near here that has an open mic on Wednesday. So then we went in and played, and I played a Gibson, like the 59 Les Paul, not the newest one.
Yeah.
But God, it felt great. It sounded great. It had a pink furry strap.
What more do you need?
What more do you need? You know, pretty amazing.
I just wish I could get my hands on it and just play them and, you know,
I know.
be able to see what the fuss is about personally. We'll get out there. We'll go to a store. We'll find one.
J Sauce, the Jim James 335 is very cool.
We've been able to play one of those.
Yeah, we sure did.
It's pretty good.
Is Merlefest a bluegrass affair? It's sort of. We were talking about that earlier, that it kind of has morphed into Americana. Not to open that can of worms again. But, I mean, you know, they're having folks like Marcus King, and this year they're having Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real. They're having Turnpike Troubadours on Friday night. So, you know.
All your favorites. And then, yeah, good morning, Tony. Tony says.
William Robinson, good morning, Tony. Tony's got a guitar headed his way before too long, as soon as we get it in.
Yeah, he does.
Some McCready love. That's another killer guitar.
It's actually a wine fest that focuses on Merlots. That is correct.
Well, okay, so here's a question. You can have any of the new Gibson Epiphones. Mm-hmm. You can have the McCready Strat.
Oh. Is that the only guitar I'm able to play?
Yep.
Damn, dude.
Like you mean, like, okay, let's say you have to pick, and it's the only one you can pick. It's the only one you can play for a month.
I'd still take the Strat. That's a good Strat.
It's a really good Strat.
They kill it, dude.
It's a really good Strat.
They kill it.
Without playing the others, I'd have to pick the Strat too, just because we played those.
I mean, we could play those Epiphones and be swayed, but it's the Strat, dude. That thing
the
is
Strat
bad.
is good, you know. Man, it's good.
It's bad.
And this is vain and dumb. It says Fender on that stock.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
The other one's still going to say Epiphone, which I don't know. It's starting to matter less, but it still matters, kind of.
I was going to say, if we see Gibson do this, y'all ready? What if they're just working us closer to the point where they say, okay, well, we're going to take Epiphone off the headstock and put Gibson on the headstock. What do you think about
Here's
that?
why they can't do that. And I had this discussion with my student yesterday. Me and Mike had this discussion. If they offered that guitar with those specs and put Gibson on it, what would make it different than, it would be nicer than their like 50s standards. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a VOS finish. It's got like custom shop pickups. Now, whether or not you figure out they're exactly the same or not, I mean, they're supposed to be. But, you know, I know how those things go. Well, they are the same, but we do these. Or you know what I mean? Like, things happen for brands. But they can't do it with those specs.
No.
Because what are they going to say? Well, these are those specs, but like not as good. And then the same specs, but better on the custom shops. And then the USA stuff for $3,000 in the middle. You couldn't do it. There's no way they could be $1,299. If you have a Gibson that's $1,299, it's got to be one of those atrocious tribute things. And I'm sorry if you have one. I'm sure some of them are fine, but all the ones I've played have not been very good.
I mean,
all the newer Epiphone stuff I've played has killed the tribute stuff.
Yes.
You know.
Well, that's why I think. Because here's why I say that. Let's just think for a second, right? You got made in Mexico Fender. Everything in Gibson's made in America, right?
Yep.
It says Gibson on it. It's made in the U.S. Well, what would stop them from? And also, not even just made in Mexico Fender. You have made in Japan Fender. So what is going? Like, if they did that, I feel like they would maybe rework the American lines. The hard part is though, is that the stuff that they're building out in Epiphone is so good.
It's too good for them to do that. Is my problem, right? Like at least Fender, right? Like your classic vibe is way down there, still like $400 or $500, you know, $600. You know, there's room, and
I'm talking about Fender like Japan.
Actual Fender Japan, yeah.
That say Fender
even
headstock, you know, and those are like $1,000.
But I'm just saying, even with those, right? Everything is spaced out accordingly.
Oh yeah.
So like Gibson is taking its stuff that's spaced out there and moved it up $1,300, but it's awesome.
Yes.
And I know there's still lower tier Epiphone stuff, I don't know.
mean, they would just have to wipe out what they're doing right now. It'd be weird. They'd have to change their whole business model. Something to think about.
Okay, people are talking about a Frusciante Strat. And Tony and I talked about this.
I keep hearing rumors of this. I don't think there's going to be a Frusciante Strat.
Okay, I'm trying to find the thing where someone said there was maybe. So maybe they can shed some light.
talking about it.
Where have you guys heard this? I'll tell you this. I think I can say this without saying too much.
Yeah.
Like, normally if something like that's coming, we know pretty well before.
Yes.
And usually we know before we hear rumors online or any leaks,
Yes.
right? Like, Fender's pretty good about telling us,
Yeah.
especially as showcase dealers, and I think they're pretty good about, most of the shops know and never say anything,
Yeah.
So there's been plenty of times where we knew something like that was coming.
Oh yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. And we know what is about to be revamped here in the Summer NAMM, basically, if there was a Summer
We do.
NAMM. We know what's coming to that, right? So
we already know. And so
there's none of that in there. And
so that's why I'm wondering I would be shocked if they were like, bam, we did it, and they didn't tell us.
I would love,
I'd
would
be a little
too.
irritated, honestly,
Yes.
because it's nice for us to be able to plan and have like pre-orders for some of that stuff.
Well, and knowing too, like I've only heard stories of John Frusciante being hyper against it and just being.
That's
like,
all I've ever heard.
I would never, I won't.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, hey, that's on him, I guess. He could be like Corey Wong selling it at every show, I guess.
So
I don't know.
I feel like we're getting mixed up, America and USA. It happens. It happens a lot. But I missed all that. But yeah, I don't know. But so yeah, to me, we would love to see a Frusciante Strat. Alex Holden II made an interesting point that Frusciante and McCready have, really similar markets and looks,
Yes.
and maybe it would split the sales. I do think it would be smart for Fender not to do those next to each other.
Yes,
Like to
I
sell the
would
McCready
wait.
for 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
That sucks but it probably makes the most business sense, unfortunately.
Sean Brooks says, made in America equals built in Mexico. That's legal to say, right? Okay, fine. Made
say made in
the
North America.
United States of America.
Made in the USA.
I thought I was talking in the sense of like, oh, we all knew that. Apparently not.
Okay, so
Just-
Todd is saying, and this has got to be where it's coming from, that Frusciante has been seen with what looks like prototypes. Maybe.
Possibly. I know he's had Fender Custom Shop, like, remanufacturers of his guitars as well.
Oh, yeah, Todd, no, I know you weren't talking to me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny we were talking about it. I used to think it was funny when I would be in the UK a lot. People would be like, you're going to London again. And I was like, no, I'm going to the UK. I'm going to England. You know what I mean? Because people in America tend to think that
Right.
everywhere in
Okay.
England is London. Shut your mouth,
Sure.
Sean. Sean can shut his mouth. We will fight right now. Wouldn't that be funny if we, had an
I
altercation?
haven't had my caffeine this morning, so I'm a little like, woof. I'm not in top fighting shape, Johnny.
I bet you're scrappy.
Not
Never seen
right
you
now.
fight.
Not right now.
No, it's not a not right now thing.
My Connor-
You either are scrappy or you're not. If you're a fighter, you can fight when you need to fight. You might not be as good as you once were, but you're as good once as you ever were.
Oh boy.
Toby Keith, R.I.P.
Scotland
Like Derek,
isn't
I
it?
think Derek probably scrappy's the wrong word for Derek. Derek's probably the if you finally pushed
Derek's
him,
a get a hold of you kind
he would
of guy.
it would be bad.
He got a
It would
hold of
be
you.
Wrong.
That's where it all changes.
Derek might be the only one in this building that's killed him.
I fairly can say that Derek is probably the only one who has ended the person. I'm just saying.
We got to get you a hat. That
I
says that.
think Derek. Again, you can just tell. I wouldn't mess with Derek.
Can we get the? Would you?
Baxter's
okay.
a wild card. He might be crazy enough that he's.
How many subscribers?
Might overestimate his abilities a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to say that.
Against Thomas.
Like I said,
a little bit.
wild card.
If
Wild card.
Eric, if we hit, I'm gonna make up a number, 1 million subscribers. Will you get a teardrop tattoo under your eye?
Yes. 1 million subscribers. I'll get a teardrop tattoo if we get a.
Would you get a teardrop tattoo under your eye?
I think my
1 million
your
subscribers.
mama would divorce me at that point.
What if we told her it's like a skin thing you developed? Like we made it
It's a mole.
just a dot.
Maybe.
Derek needs to get this checked out. It's weird. It just came up suddenly.
I mean, come on. Like if we pushed it, if we upped it up and then come on, Derek.
1 million subscribers, I'll get some sort of tattoo. We'll all get tattoos. We'll get the casino logo tattooed on our body.
Get it fucking right here, like
Yeah.
it's badge, dude.
Like a friggin' like the Yellowstone brand.
Yeah.
We'll just have extra brand us a C. If you wear the C brand, you're in for life.
We pretty much are.
I mean,
Ready.
we're stuck at this point. There's no
Pretty
going back.
close.
Robbie says, William says London is to England as New Orleans is to Louisiana. That is very true as well. You know, people just lump things together. Robbie, this is funny. Robbie Adair says, if you haven't gotten a casino hat yet, you're falling behind in life. I walked into the Guitar Center wearing one, and it definitely got some attention. That's pretty funny. Which Guitar Center, like, where were you? Like, where in the world
They told
were
me
you?
to get out.
Get your, you know.
No, you can't
You
play
go take a
that.
poop in the acoustic room?
Is that Facebook group still going?
Yeah.
The Guitar Center. I never look at it anymore. I need to look at it.
Is that something that's happened? Has somebody defecated in the acoustic room of
That's
a
the
Guitar
running
Center?
joke on.
Yeah, on
I hope
the Guitar Center
I
shitposting
hope so.
forum thing. Alex says, can we buy that Casino Moonman shirt like Johnny's been sporting? We have them in the shop.
Yeah, if you give us a call,
We'll say you want to send it to you.
We'll figure it out.
I don't think it's online anywhere, but we have. Someone designed that and we had it made, and it's like a special run.
I
kind
wish
of thing.
I could recall the guy's name. He's a
me
really
too.
cool dude. He came in there all on his own with that. I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Does Casino Guitars at least have those gas station slot machines you see everywhere now?
You know, I kind of wish we did.
We should have a poker, like an illegal poker room in the back with the poker
Well,
machines.
a legal poker room, and then Derek's brought this up time and time again. Beer taps. I mean, just getting sloppy drunk. You know, I
mean,
wouldn't mind getting a little sloppy drunk.
We got a
at
lot
work,
of liquor sort of
gambling
everywhere.
all my money away.
Can't gamble on money. There's guitars to buy. Guitars to buy.
A Casino Guitars gas station
You know.
shirt. You know, I've got old work shirts from my mechanic days that I should show it to Taylor and say, hey, I want you to do this, but let's casinify it.
But let's make it
Yeah.
the old timey gas pump on the back that says casino on the gas pump.
We
That
should
would
have
be
our
kinda
own
cool.
little name badges.
God.
Like that says casino.
But they
or it
couldn't
says
couldn't be our real names. Be like
we gotta
Hoss
make
and
up
like,
our,
you
yeah.
know,
There you go,
You know, all that kind of trash.
Oh,
Look who it is.
look at who it is.
Tom says, John will take you to this train station. I think we've already said it's Derek who will take you to the train station. But I would if I had to. There you go.
Guitars to buy, weed to be consumed. Okay, that's what it says. That's what he told me.
Mushrooms, whatever you got.
Whatever we're doing,
Whatever.
Here's what we'll
Sean
do
has
too.
magic rocks.
I have
I'm just
magic
gonna say
rocks.
it.
I gave
You
Johnny
take that
some
however you
rocks
want.
last night.
I'm not gonna explain it here, but
I
You know.
think, along with Derek's teardrop tattoo for 1 million subs, whenever we hit 1 million subs, we'll go back to Merlefest, and I will just be on a mushroom trip all 5 days. And I'll
Maybe-
try and tell people about Taylor. So I'll be like, it'll be fun.
maybe Derek just gets a tattoo on his rear, but he lets us film it,
Yes.
and we'll blur it out.
You're okay with that, right?
Totally different.
I think
Guess you won't care
the
about
teardrop, I
Yeah.
think, would be gangster. I think if you got a teardrop, dude, you would reach a new level of, people wouldn't be able to touch you. They would see you, they'd be like, oh my God.
Ned says, do some people do peyote and spend a week camping out in the back room of a casino? I feel like you could. Okay, here's a serious question to answer, right? I think we can help with this. Todd H says, do you guys have thoughts on the Fender Ventera 270 Strat? I kind of love it, and I'm deciding between that and the McCready or an American Pro 2. Thoughts first? I have multiple tiered thoughts.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so, or an American Pro 2, right? I had to go back. I want to look at it and really dissect it for a second just to see all three. Okay, so the Ventera 2s are dope.
Yes,
They are far better than the first generation, right?
I agree with that.
Not that the
1,000%.
first ones were awful, but I just didn't like them. The second ones knocked it out of the park. But if you're gonna do that and you're already torn, if you're torn between that, the McCready and the American Pro 2, what I would do is go American Original 2 70 Strat. That's what I would do. Or the Bruno Mars Strat. Well, I'm like pushing your budget just
So
went
when
out
you're
there.
talking about the American Vintage too?
Yeah, the American Vintage 2, sorry. Yeah, not American Original 2, sorry.
I mean,
That's
because
right.
you're talking about, over 2 at that point, right? From the 3 you listed, first off, I don't really think you can go wrong. Those are all
Yeah.
solid choices.
Those are all knockouts.
So my first initial thought was the McCready is probably my favorite of those.
Well, I thought the same thing, right? Where's that sit?
But every guitar is different, right? So if you've got one that you've played like in a shop, that Ventera 270 Strat, and you love it,
Do that.
But if you're like ordering them blind, you know, I'd go with the Creed. To me, the American Pro 2 has a much different feel
Yes.
than those other two. And maybe a little different sound too. It's a little more modern and a little more of that like glassy kind
Well,
of.
and the reason that I bring up that American
pickups.
Vintage 2 70s, right? My thinking behind that is if you're going for the McCready, that's at like $1,900. You're pretty close to 2. You know, you bump it up to 22, and then you can get the best of both worlds and get a 70s styled Strat.
That's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome, you know.
If you care about it being
if
the
you care,
70s
yeah.
style.
That might
if
not
you don't,
be-
if that's not a like driving factor, man,
Doesn't
or the
really-
McCready, forget about it.
There you go. Let it rip.
But I feel like because 2 of yours are like in that vintage world, you probably maybe lean that way, and I don't think the American Pro 2 leans that way really very much. It's a super solid guitar. Just, you know, I like the more vintage feel and vibe, so I'd probably lean McCready.
Same.
But I think I could have that. This is. Turns out we weren't helpful at all because we were like, they're all fine.
They're all good.
I think I could play that Ventera 270 Strat and be.
Yeah. Well, you know,
happy.
if we were to put it in process of
Make it 10.
elimination, it seems like it's going McCready, the 70 Strat, and that sits pretty close to the McCready. It's based on what you think and how you feel on it, right?
Yep.
And then we're both kind of saying the American Pro 2 doesn't really fit in that cage match there.
Lexington Daniel says, I have an order in on one of the Ventera Antigua hardtails. Ooh. No, that's cool. And he says he'll report back. Yeah, please do, because that would be cool.
Yes.
I don't know if we have any of those in order or not.
He
but,
also says that the 70s are polyfinish across the board, makes less sense in the American vintage reissues than the 50s and 60s. I agree. I kind of wish they would have just done them in nitro. I get it. It's not how they were. But
Yeah.
to me, if you're paying that money, you should get a nitro guitar. That's just me, though.
Unless you hate nitro. What
Yeah,
if you're
unless you
anti?
hate it.
There are people in this world who don't want nitro. I know.
Sick.
I know.
Sick.
I know.
Sick, Johnny. We don't talk about them.
I know.
It's like Americana. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah, Todd Roy says, I have one and I love it. At Todd H, I have the Ventera 270 Strat and the Ventera 60 Strat. Yeah, man, I've heard both those on your Instagram, Todd, and they look great and they sound great. Yeah, I don't think you can do it. With 1 million subs, your YouTube channel will be making more money than the shop. Probably. Maybe with 1 million subs. I don't really know.
Listen,
Derek probably has the math on.
We're
what 1
not
million
worried
subs
about
would
the
be.
money. We're worried about Derek getting this teardrop tattoo. I want Derek to look like a gangster. Whenever he's behind that pedal steel, you'll say, "Who hurt that man?" He'll be like, "Woo." Teardrop hanging down there. I mean, come on.
Oh, God.
You don't want that teardrop?
There's a tear in my beer.
We're all getting them.
Yeah. Duh. You think I'd make you walk around alone with
Well,
a
no, we would
teardrop
have to all
tattoo?
get them. We should put them somewhere dumb, though. Like in our elbow. You know, like right there. So, like, yeah. You guys are losers. Mayor McCheese, see? He's against nitro. And I told you, Sean. I told you.
We're toxic and worse for bonding to wood than nitro.
Unless you want it to come off the wood.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say. It's like, don't you see? I want the damage.
Okay.
Derek doesn't need a tattoo to look like a gangster. Hashtag badass.
This is true.
Jack Stowe.
And Andy says, Casino Band Jam. Hi, Jonathan, Sean. It would be great to see the casino team play good together. Do you guys ever play as a band with Baxter? Cheers. No, Baxter would never have us in his band. Ever.
We're not good enough.
And we know it.
We know it.
He might be sitting right
He's
over
more
there.
of an old time guy.
We've all jammed together.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's ever been totally documented.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's never like a big planned thing. We just kind of, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you know. I mean, we've never been like, let's book a gig and then I'll go out and play a show.
Don't worry, I already booked one.
It's booked.
You ever heard of Neville's?
if I'll come down if you need a bass player in your casino band. I mean,
That's right.
only if you play your Gretsch bass up like this, do your move, your signature move. That's Ned's move, in case you guys didn't know.
I like it.
Okay, 410 or 212. Sean?
420. No, 410 or 212. I have lived by the 212, but I think over time I've enjoyed 410s more.
Oh.
So 212s have become almost like vanilla to me. I'm like, that's normal.
I hate to think that you're right. Well, 212s is great.
It's great. Yeah, it's fun.
It's great.
That's
it's
a good
fine.
story.
It's time tested.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your
Yeah.
your D28. You know, your spruce and rosewood.
But you know what gets the magic rocks going? 410.
A 410 basement. Mighty Witcher says a 412. I knew he'd spell that. Listen,
It was on the way. It was in the
I really like 410s. The first tube amp I ever had was a 410 Hot Rod DeVille. I think that made me biased. But I love the Bassmans with 410s, and maybe one of the best amps ever is the old Super Reverb, and it also has 410s. So I'm not saying they're the greatest, but they might be the greatest.
They're pretty good.
And Eric is right. Good tight response with the 410. You know, and a lot of times I think that just works really great. And I like the sort of swirl of 4 speakers. It does something. You know, so I might slightly lean 410 as well.
I mean, there's an application for both.
I mean, you know, either one can sound
know.
fantastic.
That's right.
And, well, you know, then there's
610s.
some people will make the argument for one speaker being more focused if you're micing it.
Yep, that's right.
I don't know. I don't care. But no, I do like 410s a lot. General says 410s record great, 212s live. I could maybe get behind that.
Yeah.
So,
It's funny, we talked about this one day. Isn't like a 410 cabinet set up like a, it's kind of like you got this mini stack.
I think that's what's kind of fun about it. And then, because if you're not Woodrow and you can't rock the 412, you're not cool enough to rock 412s. Yeah, maybe the 410s is like the next best thing.
Yeah.
But I think it also gets into close back or open back.
Yep.
And I think there's something magical about an open back 410.
Yeah.
And so maybe if you want the 412s and you want the thump,
You know what I'd be interested
the rumble
in?
of God, you had to have close back.
That swirl thing, I would be interested if it's because it's an open back.
It's got to play into it.
Close
you
the
know?
back up and seal it up and see what happens.
We could just build a little port thing,
Yeah.
shove in there, and close it, seal it up. We should try that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it would take some of it away and make it more
Yeah.
like I mean they're already pushed enough, but
Yeah.
I bet it would give it a little more bass, like
Yeah.
a little more.
I bet the speakers would distort a lot sooner too, which would be kind of cool. A little rumble.
I mean, you think it's always interesting to me that the Magnetones, even though they're like British flavored, all the M80 stuff are all open back, and I think that adds to like what I enjoy about the sound,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the right amount of the bass is pretty tight, but it's still got this open
Yeah.
sound that I really dig. Where I think you get a bit of a different thing with the Marshall with the closed back thing,
Yeah. I can see that.
you know.
I get
but-
that.
Somebody says PVW is 210. Listen, 210s are awesome. Vibrolux, man. You find out old Vibrolux. Good Lord, that sounds great. I think that's amazing.
I
Someone's
think that's
blowing their horn at
kind of
us.
the magic.
Those rude.
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
sauce.
But I also like some of those old Supras. They were like those Royal Reverbs were 210s. I always thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, but I like 10-inch speakers. You know, I like the 10-inch speaker in a Princeton. I like the 10-inch speaker in my little amulet. I like the 10-inch speaker in those new baby M80s. That sounds stupid good.
Well, whenever you get to, I got to the point where I started dialing in on a 10-inch, and I was like, oh, that's great,
Ooh, Mighty Woodrow said he tried the baby M80 last week at the shop, and I wasn't even here. That's so sad. And he was floored. It was good, right? Like, it's good. Stupidly good. Yeah.
Crazy good.
Wave says, I have open and closed back 212s loaded with Jensen Falcon 50s. That's cool. For a while, it seemed like there was a trend where, like, when you buy cabs, not necessarily like branded cabs, but, like the little Avalon ones or the ones everybody was using, they'd have the thing where you could take out the back and make it closed or open or half and half. And I kind of thought that was cool. But it sort of seems maybe like that's gone away a bit. Or maybe I'm just not as, like, dialed into looking at those things.
Yeah, I think the only issue is some companies make, like the Henry amp company, they make it just a little aggravating to take that port out of the back. It would be cool if it was just like a,
Bam! Velcro.
yeah, honestly.
Or magnet. You probably couldn't do magnets. Probably mess with the speaker.
Yeah, probably
Maybe.
right.
I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. But Man, Mighty Woodrow played it with the Terry Kath.
Yeah, he did.
Talk about tone.
Chicago.
One-way ticket to Tone Zone.
Chicago.
Toneville.
It's got something in it.
I mean, you know what Jimi Hendrix said about old Terry. The
Who?
greatest guitar. No, I just love that. Man, we got Bobby
That was
here.
the quote. It was just who?
Who?
So I came in and said, what do you think of Terry Kath? Who?
All right, Jack, we love you. See you soon.
That's right, baby.
All right, I think that's about it. Princeton's are really pretty nice. It's a micro super reverb.
It is. You're right.
I'm okay with that.
I want
I'm
4
okay with that
Princetons
thought.
stacked on top
Just
of each
4
other.
Princetons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that about covers us for the day. Is there anything else pressing we need?
I need a coffee. That's what I need.
Coffee will kill you. Mushroom coffee all the way. Rise.
What are you? What? What are you?
Don't worry about
Oh my God.
all things in moderation.
All things in
All right.
moderation.
Well, thank you guys as always for hanging out with us.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun live stream. Don't forget, go click like, hit subscribe.
Hit the bell.
We can't get to 1 million subs and make Derek get a teardrop tattoo without you guys doing that.
And it doesn't mean anything if we get all the way there and all you guys aren't there with us. Because you guys are
that's
awesome.
true.
Like,
I mean, some of you statistically will be dead.
it's going to
that's
take
fine.
15 years.
That's
So-
fine.
It's
All right.
fine.
Goodbye.